All right, we're very fortunate to have as our next speaker Jonathan Rochelle. He's Director of Product Management at Google and co-founder of something most of us are probably using or have used, Google Docs and Google Drive, including other apps in that suite such as Google Sheets, Slides, Forms, Apps, Scripts, and Google Fonts. And yesterday he tried to convince me to use Google something or other, and I almost did, but I was too busy. Jonathan is now primarily responsible for Jamboard, a collaborative whiteboard app and large screen hardware device, and G Suite for Education, which reaches more than 60 million educators and students globally. Jonathan will share examples of how Google has been collaborating with partners in schools. Please welcome Jonathan Rochelle.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I guess in the spirit of learning, I have to say, and I'm sure you all kind of experience this at this conference and others, but some things just strike you, and you either write it down or you think you remember it or you just think about it a lot. And one thing that Beatrice said and a couple of other things that the other speaker said just really struck me. One was that, and the stat is just amazing to me, that human information doubles every 73 days. Is that what it was? Every 7? I mean, that's just mind-boggling. And you think, I don't know what we would do without technology if that's true. But the impact to learning, obviously, that has a huge impact. And the other thing that really struck me, Babe Ruth was a pitcher? Is that true? All right, that was the other thing. So there were some other things. I want you, oops, I'm actually forwarding slides. So I want you to get to know me because, Google is here. And people sometimes say Google is so hard to get in touch with. We don't know anybody. And so I want you to get to know me a little bit. This is the way I picture myself. Because this is just, how it is. You don't feel like you age until you look in the mirror, so I don't like looking in the mirror. But this is me a long time ago when I had really high hopes for what I was going to do and thought I should wear a three-piece suit to do it. But some of the things that really impact my involvement in education and why I got involved in it, I'm one of the founders of Docs and Drive and some of the products that you hopefully use and maybe even use in education. But the things that also impact me, I'm a school board member, or I should say I was a school board member of a K-8 district in New Jersey. Just finished my term in December. And that's a very special, and I say special, responsibility. And it's the kind of thing that really impacted what I thought about the learning process and the education process and really countered, again, some of the natural forces that I've got in my technology role. But the other one is obviously being a father of 3 students. And so you can get to know them a little bit, Lauren, Jeremy, and Daniel. They also have a huge impact on my feelings about learning and how technology is used in learning. And again, something that Beatrice said really strikes me as probably the most important thing I would love to say we all in this room can have an impact on. Because I've seen it across all of my students, at least 2 of them, and the third just now starting, which is in that middle school to high school transition, something changes. And it's very unfortunate because they do go from, I would say, happy-go-lucky learners, interested, willing to discover, willing to fail, willing to try, to very cynical and very suspect of the learning process. And that's because in high school, we've turned it into a place where what you're trying to do is to pass a test to get into college, where the real learning can happen. And that's unfortunate, and I think we can change that. So one of the most important things, the reason we're here, people are like, why is Google here? I have to say, I've run into a lot of people in the halls that I don't know, and there's 3 reactions, and you might be able to internalize which reaction you've had. First is like, oh, Google is here. And that's like, yeah, you either know that we're doing something in education, or you know the brand, or you use one of the products, or you got a Google Home for Christmas, and so you're like, oh, this is interesting. And the second one, so hopefully a lot of you had that reaction. The second one is like, oh, Google is here? Like, what? What do you guys do in education? And there's some people that really just don't know what we do in education, and we really want to inform you, and that's really what I'll talk about here. And the third, I have to admit, and you don't have to raise your hand, but the third is, oh, Google is here. It's like, why is Google here? Like, don't come here. This is our thing. But we are a contributing member, and that's one of the most important announcements today. We're really interested in helping this community. And I will give Rob tons of credit, because when we first got involved, and I'll talk about how we transitioned into really becoming a participant in the EdTech community, Rob was on the phone with me right away. As soon as we had any inkling of this really starting to transition, he's like, you must become an IMS contributing member. This will have big impact, it'll be good for you, good for the community. And of course, it was very compelling. I go back to my team, I'm like, we have to participate in IMS Global. And they're like, what is that? Where are we going to find the time? We're hardly a player in this industry. And so it took a while. But Rob was convinced from the beginning, and I am now absolutely convinced. And the leadership that you've provided and what this whole group provides is really amazing. So we're very proud to be part of this group. Our mission, as a lot of you know it, organize the world's information, make it universally accessible and useful. That itself has a big impact on how people learn, managing that information that doubles every 73 days. And we want to make sure we bring the best of that to educators, to teachers, and administrators that have that fan-out impact to students. And we want to figure out the best ways to do that. But I'll tell you how we do it so far. And we do it in 3 ways. Products. We produce products that are used in education. Programs, which are supportive usually of the teachers and the administrators, but sometimes directly with students. Those are programs that we invest in. And giving. We're an organization that has money that we can give, and we do that whenever we can. I'll go through each of those. First, in products, the way we do that is to listen to people who know education. We're very humble in our understanding of where we sit in the education process. We're not educators. And so when we were developing Docs and Drive, we weren't thinking about them as education products, but we did learn over the years, and they're about 12 years old now. So 2006 is when we launched the first elements of that product set, and very quickly educators decided these can be used in the classroom for incredible value. But we weren't necessarily an EdTech vendor. Time went on and we decided, okay, it's time to invest. And the way in 2013 that we started investing in Google Classroom was to listen to educators. The product manager that started Google Classroom on my team is an ex-educator. He's a product manager, but he's also an educator. He understood what it was like to be in the classroom, but even he took a very humble view and went out and did the research to say, what's the problem today in classrooms? What do teachers need? And I'm proud to say that today, we keep that method going day in and day out. We take hundreds of thousands of pieces of feedback. When you click that feedback button on our products, we listen. And we do these things we call close the loop. And so when we hear something that people need or want, we get back to them to say, we did that. Thank you for your recommendation. You were part of a big group recommending that we do that, and we did it. And that has a big impact. So when you help us, you're helping yourselves. It helps create products that you can use. So please keep doing that. Those products that we create, like I said, it started with Docs, Drive, Gmail, Calendar. When they're used by educators, they're used in a controlled environment, and that is something that schools can then have greater impact on the students. And we develop those products along the 4 C's, basically. We recognized that the 4 C's were something that our products fit really well into. Obviously, collaboration being one of the most central to that. But communication products, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, we can't cover it all. So the other really important aspect to our product strategy is partnering. And we've increased our partner program and started to invest more in it and brought in many of you who were on the partner side in the room, but we want more. We want to make sure people understand. And that obviously is one of the foundations of us being here for interoperability, to make sure our products work with your products and in your school. For programs, we invest in a lot of things, but I would say it runs the gamut. It's something that really can support students. One of the areas that we've done is the Google Science Fair. You've probably heard of that. And that's a direct-to-student program. and it's a program that really inspires creativity. I have to say, one of the most important things for me personally that I've recognized in students that I work with, in teachers and students, is what I call the 5th C. The 5th C for me is confidence. And we see that in the Google Science Fair tremendously, but also in the other programs. We're trying to create confidence in using technology so that when students enter the workforce, it's something that they're not afraid to fail, which is the thing that we really push hard in schools, and that they understand not just how to use technology, but how to learn and how to apply it in relevant ways. And that's what we try to inject into our programs. Applied Digital Skills is another program really worth looking at, which is something we invested in to help people understand how to use some modern technology tools, but towards relevant learning. And CS First, which is another goal of ours to help the world understand, I'll call it computational thinking. Of course, it's put into practice through coding and learning to code. Those are some of the programs that we inject. The partner program is worth looking into, especially if you're a partner in the room, but even if you're an educator and you want to recommend partners, and you say, we're using these products, and we want you to help us use those products better. So please search for the Google Education Partner Program and get involved there or help us with that. And on the giving side, we do so much. We give millions and millions of dollars to many things, but we don't just put the money into other organizations. We do a lot of that, but we also start opportunities for learning ourselves. One of them is the Dynamic Learning Project. And I strongly suggest looking at it if you haven't heard of it before. It's brand new. We've invested, I would say, just a pilot amount of money into this, but it was towards a very specific, I will say, hypothesis that is starting to prove out, which is technology in education is completely meaningless if you don't give educators training in how to use it. We've seen so much budget go to waste, and I will say, I'll put myself back at my school board, with my school board hat on, and say I've seen so much money wasted on technology that seemed really cool until it's in an educator's hands that doesn't have time to learn it on their own or know how to use it, or it doesn't apply to them. It's not going to work in their classroom. They are in control. They are the individual that has the biggest impact on that child. There's no technology, no textbook, no content, no video on YouTube that can impact that child as great as the teacher. And if the teacher doesn't know how to use the technology, it's a complete waste of money. And so our theory was, let's implement coaching. Let's put technology coaches into schools and have a very specific program about how to use technology in the classroom. And that program went to 50 schools. It was just a pilot, 50 schools. It hit 2,250 teachers and impacted 31,000 students and had an incredible positive impact on the learning experience, the outcomes. We didn't measure whether the technology is used more or not. That wasn't the measure. It was the learning outcome. And it was an incredible positive success. So our commitment to IMS Global in the mission is 3 areas that we think we can participate in. 1 is innovation, 2 is scale, and 3 is obviously interoperability, the I word. I'm not going to make a comment on whether the I word is sexy or not, although I think I just did. So innovation, we definitely want to help bring whatever innovation we have in our products, in Google's products, to the community. If you have ideas on how you think you might be able to use it, the example shown here is just a very simple example. How do we use data? How do we take data, millions and millions of rows of data, and analyze it and present results, whether it's natural language processing or something else, results in seconds. And we can do that incredibly easily now. Our infrastructure is there for us, and it's there for you. The Google Cloud Platform helps us do that, but it's through simple tools like BigQuery. And there's other tools too, the Vision API, the Assistant API. You can put those to learning models yourself. There's almost nothing that we do for EdTech that you can't do. You can do it with our tools, with our APIs. So we want to help bring that innovation. The scale and the depth and the reach that we have is also an asset for this community. We want to be able to get your products and your ideas and your projects and your learning out to the people that are using our products as well. We have the #1 selling device in education in 4 countries. That's a really big impact, and it's a really big, I'll say, it's a really big asset to this community. And some of those other numbers are interesting. For me, the most notable is 1 billion assignments, well more now, because this is a fairly old stat, well more than 1 billion assignments have passed through Google Classroom. And it's in a very young, we're an incredibly young company in this space, and we recognize that. We expect that you can leverage some of this more than we can. So that's scale. And then obviously interoperability. We want to explore ways to interoperate with the products that you use or that you have if you're partners. And we've done a lot more of that, and the partner program is one of them. If you're a school, and note to self, giving a short URL with capital letters and lowercase letters, bad idea. I'm going to keep that on the screen for a couple of minutes. If you're an educator and you want to get involved in our pilot programs, please use that short URL. Interoperability is not just about us partners, us technology companies, going in the back room and figuring out how to make our things tie together. It's about educators getting involved to say, is it useful? And that'll just be a form to show your interest in getting involved as a customer, as a potential customer, or even a non-customer that wants to help us go to the next level and to do the next thing. So we're incredibly excited to be here. We're really hoping that you are in the camp of Google is here, not Google is here. And we thank you for having us. And I'll just ask the team from Google, you're going to see different people here over the next few days. I know I'm not here for the whole time, but then somebody else comes. But just the people that are here, could you guys just stand up for a second? They're probably all sitting in the same place. I'll just, these are the people that you can talk to if you have questions from the product team, from the go-to-market team. And please do approach us and talk to us about what you think you need. And thank you very much.